Good morning, student. In today class, we will make a cell momentum balance in flow through an annulus. So let us consider that an incompressible fluid of density rho and viscosity mu is moving in an annular space between two coaxial cylinders of radii r and kr. This r is radius of larger cylinder and this kr is radius of smaller cylinder. Here we consider the flow to be flowing upward in the annular space that is opposite to gravity. The flow direction is in upward direction and the length of cylinder is L as shown in figure. This length is L and the radius of larger diameter cylinder is capital R and radius of smaller radius cylinder is KR. Now to make momentum balance on this annulus, let us consider a controlled volume which has a thickness of delta r and which is at a distance of smaller r from the center, and the length of controlled volume is the length of cylinder L. So if we apply momentum balance on this controlled volume, so before making momentum balance we have to make several assumptions, like that the we have steady state condition. It means the flow is constant with respect to time and flow fluid is laminar. The fluid property are constant, like its density and viscosity are constant, and flow is unidirectional. It means unidirectional means the flow is only in z direction. This z direction, the flow is in upward direction, so it's only in z direction, and the radial and angular flow is 0. As you can see, the unidirectional flow, that is the fluid is only in z direction, hence v theta equal to 0 and vr equal to 0. It means the velocity in axial and angular direction is 0 and flow is only unidirectional. And the next assumption is that the fluid is Newtonian, so that we can apply Newton law of viscosity. Next assumption is no slip condition between the liquid, no slip condition between liquid and solid surface of the wall. It means the fluid layer which is in contact with solid wall having 0 velocity due to no slip condition. And the last assumption is that the flow is fully developed. The flow is fully developed, it means there is no velocity variation along the z direction. So as you can see, if you draw a line, so along this line there is no velocity variation. And the flow is fully developed. The flow is fully developed, and the flow is fully developed. It is not influenced by entrance and exit effect, and velocity profile does not vary along the axis of flow in z direction. So if we apply momentum balance on this controlled volume, so there are two type of momentum apply on this controlled volume. One is due to molecular transport and another one is due to convective transport. So let us first discuss about the momentum due to molecular transport of the fluid. So the rate of momentum in due to molecular transport at r will be equal to this 2 pi rl is the area, and this tau rz is shear stress. This will give the value of momentum. So this momentum is at location r. Similarly, rate of momentum out due to molecular transport at r plus delta r will be equal to this 2 pi rl. This is the effective area through which this momentum is transferring. So this 2 pi rl multiply by tau rz, and this is at a location of r plus delta r. Similarly, we can calculate momentum transport due to convective transfer. So in that case, because if you can see our last assumptions, the flow is fully developed. It means it is not influenced by entrance and exit effect, and there is no velocity variation along the z direction. So if there is no velocity variation along the z direction, then convective momentum at the entrance and exit will be same. So the net rate of momentum transfer due to convective transport will be 0. Also there are net pressure force acting on the controlled volume. So the net pressure force, if PA at location X is the pressure at the entrance point, and PA X plus delta X is net pressure force at the exit of the controlled volume, then net pressure force will be equal to pressure force at the entrance minus pressure force at the exit. So this will give net pressure force on the controlled volume. This pressure force include because the pipe is vertically placed, it means this pressure force include the pressure due to gravitational force plus the fluid pressure. So this P will be equal to P plus rho gh. Here P is pressure due to gravitational force plus the fluid pressure. Now if we put all these value in conservation of momentum equation, which say that the sum of force acting on a controlled volume will be equal to rate of momentum out of controlled volume minus rate of momentum into the controlled volume plus rate of accumulation of momentum into the controlled volume. So in this case we have assumed steady state condition. As you can see in the assumptions, the first assumptions was that steady state condition. So at steady state condition, the rate of accumulation term will be 0. So this term will be 0. So if we put remaining value in this equation, then finally we will get this equation, and we get this equation after putting the value in this equation and then multiply it by 2 pi delta r delta z, then we will get this equation. The net rate of momentum transfer due to convective transport will be 0. So this include only pressure force and momentum due to molecular transport. Now in fully developed flow, the pressure gradient is constant and is equal to delta P by L. If this pressure gradient is constant, so instead of taking this uh, small portion z to z plus delta z, we can take entire length of the pipe, because the pressure gradient dp by dz is constant. So we can take entire pipe to make our calculation simpler. For that, the total pressure difference at the entrance and exit will be equal to the difference of pressure at the entrance and exit of the pipe will be equal to delta P, and length of the pipe is L. So instead of taking dP by dz, we can take delta P by L. Here delta P is the pressure difference between entrance and exit of the pipe, and L is length of the pipe. And again, if we take delta R tends to 0, then this equation convert into its differential form. Now to solve this equation we have to integrate this equation. So after integration we will get this form of above equation. Now as I told you earlier, this pressure include the fluid pressure plus this gravitational force. uh, so this P equal to P plus rho gz. So if we replace this delta P equal to P1 minus P2, and here P1 equal to P0 plus rho g0 minus P2 is PL plus rho gl. So after putting this we finally get this value, and if we further simplify this equation, finally we get this equation. Now to solve this equation we have to calculate the value of integration constant, that C1. So for calculating C1 we require boundary condition. Now boundary condition is that at r equal to lambda r, here lambda r is the radius at which the fluid velocity is maximum. As you can see in this diagram, this lambda r is the radius at which fluid velocity is maximum. So where fluid velocity, then the tau will be 0, because tau is differentiation of dv by dz. So if vz is constant equal to vz max, so tau will be 0. So uh, so in this boundary condition at r equal to lambda r, this tau rz will equal to 0. This tau rz, this is tau rz, not tau rx. So this will be 0. If we apply this boundary condition in above equation, then we get this value, and from here we can calculate the value of C1, and after calculating value of C1 we can again put the value of rate this integration constant in this equation, and finally we will get this equation after putting value of integration constant. This is the equation of shear stress. Now if we want to calculate the velocity, then we can use Newton law of viscosity. This Newton law of viscosity is tau rz equal to minus mu dvz by dr. So if we put the value of tau rz in this equation, then this equation will be converted into this form. Now again to solve this equation we have to integrate this equation. So after integration the equation of velocity will be this one. Now again this equation has integration constant C2. In order to solve this integration constant C2, and this also has lambda. So if we want to replace this lambda and C2 in this equation, we require two boundary condition to remove these two constants. So first boundary condition is at r equal to kr, this vz equal to 0, and at r equal to capital R, vz equal to 0. These are no slip conditions, because the fluid layer which is in contact with the solid surface having zero velocity, because the solid surface is stationary, and this r and kr is the radius of larger and smaller pipe. So velocity at r equal to r and r equal to kr will be 0. So if we use these two boundary condition in this equation, then we can calculate the value of C2 and lambda. So C2 equal to -1 and this 2 lambda square equal to 1 minus k square upon log 1 upon k. So put value of C1 and lambda into this equation, then finally we can get the value of velocity. And we can also calculate this tau rz by putting the value of these constant into this equation. So if we put value of lambda in this equation, we can also get our desired equation of shear stress, and this equation is this one. Now moving further, by using this velocity profile we can calculate maximum velocity. So let us say the maximum velocity occur at r equal to lambda r at some location. So if we put r equal to lambda r in this equation, then we can get the maximum value of velocity. So the maximum value of velocity will be this one. Similarly, if we want to calculate average velocity, then average velocity will be equal to the volumetric flow rate upon area. Volumetric flow rate is velocity into dA. It will give volumetric flow rate divided by area, this A. So this equation can also be written as this. This Vz r dr d theta is volume, because Vz is velocity and r dr d theta is area. Similarly, this r dr d theta is area. Now put value of Vz in this equation, then we get this equation, and after integration finally the velocity will be, the average velocity will be this one. These are simple calculation, but I skip several steps. But if you face any difficulty in integration, you can write in the comment box and I will give you full derivation. Now again, if you want to calculate mass flow rate and force exerted, then mass flow rate will be the volumetric flow rate is obtained by multiplying the average velocity with the cross sectional area. So mass flow rate is equal to average velocity into area into density. Average velocity into area, it will give you volumetric flow rate. So if you multiply this volumetric flow rate by the density of fluid, then this meter cube will be cancelled out and you will get kg per second. So this will be mass flow rate. Average velocity we have already calculated. Area of the annulus will be equal to pi r square 1 minus k square. So if we put and density is rho, so if we put all these value, finally the mass flow rate will be this one. Similarly, we can calculate force exerted at the wall of the tube. The force exerted at the fluid on the solid surfaces is obtained by summing the forces acting on the inner and outer cylinder as follow. This 2 pi kr is the radius of smaller pipe L, and tau rz r equal to kr plus the force exerted at 2 pi rl tau rz r plus r. So at smaller pipe plus at the larger pipe, and if you put all this value, finally the total force exerted will be equal to pi r square 1 minus k square p0 minus pl. So this is end of today class. If you have any question or query, you can write in the comment box. Thank you.